doing today? More exciting news. Not only do I have my own apron, I have a shirt. Look at this with my logo. See, it's got my bottle of wine. And then look at the back. Measurements, they don't matter, do they? Not for the small town baker. Anyway, so let's get the apron on. Hope everybody's doing well today. How many days of isolation now? Everybody's lost count now. Anyway, a little colder out today, and so it's nice to kind of stay inside and enjoy a little small town baker. So today we are gonna make cinnamon rolls. I've had a few requests for these, so I hope you guys are going to enjoy them. They do take a little bit of time, so we're going to kind of get the dough going, get it rising, and then we'll be back to you to kind of finish it up. So what do we have to do first? We got to wash our hands. We got to keep that COVID out of the kitchen. So a lot of people, especially my fans kind of around the world, not locally, have asked me, why do I sing Barrett's Privateers? You guys need to check out a YouTube channel. Just Google Barrett's Privateers hand washing, and it's all kinds of amazing Atlantic Canadian artists singing and washing their hands to a verse of Barrett's Privateers. Hence, that's why I do it. So let's get started. So we'll get that water hot. Now wait a second. I've had a special request from a fan of mine, Paul, that maybe I change up the song every so often. So today, I'm changing it up. Yes, I am. I happen to get the words right here in case I mess it up. We're going to do a tribute to good old Kenny Rogers, who we lost last week. Great country artist. Anyway, so guess what? We're going to do a little gambler. Here we go. You've got to know when to hold them. Know when to fold them. Know when to walk away. Know when to run. Never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. Oh, there we go. I think that was good. So that was my version of the gambler. Now, those who are looking for Barrett's Privateers, don't worry. It's still going to be in my repertoire. Perfect. There we go. Now we'll dry up the hands on a nice clean towel. And we're going to get started. All right, so we're going to start with the dough. And the dough needs about 2 hours to rise. So we're going to get that started, and then we'll let that sit for a bit. So I'm going to start with a cup of heated warmed milk to about 110 degrees Celsius. It took me about a minute in the microwave. So we're going to just stick that in a bowl. And we're going to add 2 tablespoons of white sugar. And as you can see, today Small Town Baker is measuring, because when you're making a dough, you kind of have to be a little more exact. So 2 tablespoons of white sugar and 2.5 teaspoons of active yeast. Now I know this is really hard to come by in the grocery store these days, along with the flour. So I'm lucky that I had some in stock. So there's 2.5 of dry active yeast. So we're going to put those in there. We're going to give that a little stir, just like this, just with a regular spoon. And that's going to sit for just about 5 minutes. And let that kind of get, as they say, active. Okay, so while that's sitting, the yeast is sitting, we're going to get 4.5 cups of bread flour. So this is a little bit different than all-purpose flour. I'm not really sure what the difference is, but to me it looks a little more fine. So it's, like I said, bread flour. So there's 2, 3, 4, and then we'll just get fill this up a half. So there we go, and a half, 4.5. Now I'm gonna just grab a little bit more flour out here because we're gonna need a little bit of that later. So we'll just put that away. Okay, so to the flour, I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna add 1/3 of a cup of white sugar. Okay, and we're just gonna give that a little mix. Oh, I forgot to get a spoon. There we go. Okay, so we'll give that a little mix. Okay, we still have a few minutes for that yeast to kind of work its way into the milk. So I am going to get 2 eggs, and we're going to give those a little beat. So there's 1, 2. Okay, so we'll just get our fork, break that up. So they just need to be beaten lightly. Get some exercise here in the arm. There we go. Okay, as you can see, I just switched bowls because I realized my bowl wasn't going to be big enough. Okay, so the yeast and the milk have set for 5 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the dry ingredients to my bowl, just like that. Easy peasy. Give that a mix. And then to this mixture, we're gonna add our slightly beaten eggs. So we'll get all that in there, do that. And then I had melted 1/3 cup of butter. So that's gonna go right into our mixture as well. So just like this. Okay. So there we go. So now we're gonna mix all that in, and I'm actually gonna kind of get right in there with my hands. Okay, so I'm just gonna clean off that spoon. I'm gonna get right in here with my hands and get this formed into, yes, 1 ball. Okay, and it does require a little bit of kneading, so I'm going to just kind of make sure I can incorporate all the dry ingredients in there. You can see some of it kind of sticks to the bottom of the bowl, so I just kind of pick it up and put it back in. Okay, so I just spent about 2 to 3 minutes kind of kneading that. Looks feels pretty good. Good consistency. Okay, so we're just gonna put that back in the bowl, just like that. We're gonna grab some saran wrap or any kind of plastic wrap, and we're gonna cover our bowl. Actually, I like to kind of get it right down there just so that there's, actually no, sorry. Because I forgot it needs to expand. So I'm just gonna cover it tightly. Just like that. And we're gonna let that sit for about 2 hours. And that should expand to double its size.
2 hours later.
Well, welcome back. We've let the dough rise for a couple of hours. As you can see, the ball has doubled in size, which is exactly what we want. So what we're gonna do now is wash my hands, because I did end up making some lunch. Well, I'm gonna wash my hands, and we're gonna keep on the Kenny Rogers theme. This one for you, Paul. You've gotta know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. As you can see, I don't really know the words. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, they'll be coming off accounting. When the dealing's done, whoo! Oh, and we'll just give that a wipe. All right, so before we roll out the dough, we're gonna make our filling. So basically, really simple. 1/3 cup of softened butter. Yes, more butter, Jeff. We're gonna do 3 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. So I'm gonna just put that in over the bowl, because even if we have a little more cinnamon, that's not a big deal. Okay, so there we go. That's about right. And then we're gonna do a cup of brown sugar, and that's it. So, and it's really good when it's when the butter's quite soft, because it's nice, easy to mix, and then easy to spread on the dough. Okay, so just Gonna pack that down, and as you can see, that's about a cup of firmly packed brown sugar. Okay, so we're gonna give that a quick mix. Okay, remember how I said 3 teaspoons of cinnamon? I was kind of looking at it, and my production assistant kind of said, oh, I think we need more cinnamon. And you know what? She's right. It's supposed to be 3 tablespoons. Oh, and there's the phone. It's always busy here in the life of small town baker. Oh, it's Nimmer on the phone. Hello. Well, that was the famous Nimmer on the phone. She kind of distracted me for a minute, but anyway, where I was that we needed 3 tablespoons of cinnamon, not teaspoons. So we're just mixing that in with the butter and the sugar, just so it's a nice spreadable consistency. You want it nice and soft so it's easy to spread onto the buns. Okay, so now we're gonna flour our nice clean counter. We'll put the top on the cinnamon because we don't want to spill that anywhere. So we're just gonna put some flour down. Okay, and we're gonna take our dough, which as you can see, it's about twice the size. I'm gonna knead it a little bit in our hands. Just to, you can see all that yeast is working. Okay, so now, remember, I'm just a small town baker, so nothing's ever perfect in my kitchen, but we try to make it the best we can. Okay, and I forgot my rolling pin, so I'm gonna just grab that. Here we go, we'll put a little flour on the rolling pin. So now what we wanna do is roll it out into a rectangle shape. Now it is a little elastic, of course, because of the yeast, so you do have to work it a little bit. Okay, so here we have kind of get it rolled out. It does take some muscle, so you just kind of work it, and kind of like a rectangle shape, and you can just form it as you think. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put this right on top of it, just like this. We can get a knife out, just scrape it off the spoon like this. It smells delicious already. I do want to make another shout out to another good friend who celebrated a birthday yesterday on my day off. Yes, we didn't record yesterday, and I know a few fans were waiting for a show, so you know, even small town bakers need a day off. But my good friend Nancy had a birthday yesterday. So I wanted to do a little shout out to her, and maybe we'll have to do a little small town baker delivery to her at some point. Also, another friend of mine celebrated a birthday yesterday too, and her name's Colleen. We know each other. We refer to each other as Colleen Squared. Anyways, happy birthday, Colleen and Nancy, right from the kitchen of the small town baker. Okay, so as you can see, I've coated the dough in all of my brown sugar cinnamon mixture. Now I'm gonna get a 9x13 pan, all greased up. You know what Nanmar says. Oh, I forgot I already got my, so we're gonna give that a little spray. Just like that. Put a little flour on it. And squish it around. Okay. Whoopsie. Okay, so now, this is, we try to make it as nice as we can. Again, this is small town baking, doesn't have to be perfect. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold it, or roll it, sorry, lengthwise, as tight as you can. So you're just gonna take the ends and just roll it like this. As tight as you can, all around, just like this. Okay, so then we've got a nice log here like this. And then all we're gonna do, we might wanna, I still use these ends, but we might want to just cut off the ends and we can stick them into the pan where we need them stuck. Now, as you can see the thickness here, you could roll the dough out a little bit thinner and have more rolls if you want to, but this works just fine. So we're gonna cut them in about 1 inch thick, and then we're just gonna lay them right in our pan, just like this. So we've cut all of the cinnamon buns and we've put them into the pan like this. We can just fill those empty little spaces with these little side ones, and those can be for my kids or something, you know, the ones that aren't perfect. Anyway, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna cover this again, and we're going to let those sit for another half hour, because believe it or not, they're gonna rise again. Okay, well, welcome back. We've let the buns raise for about 30 minutes, so you can see they actually filled the pan some more. So we're gonna put these in the oven at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes until they're nice and golden and ooey gooey. Okay, so I'm gonna set the timer. And we're gonna get on to make the icing, because of course you can't have a cinnamon bun without the icing. But I wanted to introduce you to some special guests we have from Virginia. Hi. Everybody say hi. So this is Eileen and her kids. There's Reagan and Nora and Veronica. Hi, Veronica. So now, do you guys like Small Town Baker?
We love Small Town Baker.
Oh, yay! Have you learned anything?
We've learned lots.
Yes.
We put our cookies in the freezer before we cook.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so.
Measuring is overrated.
Absolutely, as my shirt says. Okay, so listen, fans from all over, we're just gonna make the icing for our cinnamon buns right now. So it's easy peasy. No need to measure. We're gonna put some butter. Jeff, sorry, more butter. We're gonna put the same amount of cream cheese. Oh, I thought this was open, but I guess not, Maria.
Oh.
Oh yes, Maria and Kate are here too as part of the audience. So we're gonna put about the same amount of cream cheese in. Maybe a little bit more. Can't have too much cream cheese. We're gonna put some icing sugar, about that much. And then we're gonna put a drop of vanilla. Just like that. And we're gonna mix that up. And that's all there is to it. Oh, welcome back. My buzzer just dinged. And the cinnamon buns, what are we making cinnamon buns? Look delicious. So I'm gonna just take those out. Ooh, now only if you could smell through the TV. These smell amazing. I'm gonna turn the oven off, and we'll just let those sit a minute. So you gotta kind of let them cool a little bit before you take them out. You can see the icing here. So what I did was I mixed the cream cheese, the butter, the icing sugar, and a little bit of vanilla. And then I did nuke it a little bit, just so that it gives you that nice runny consistency. So when you pour it, on the cinnamon buns, it pours quite nicely. I did add a tiny little bit of cream too to make it a little bit more silky. So we're gonna just let those cool a little bit. I'm gonna have a glass of wine. It's the afternoon somewhere. What time is it in Virginia, Eileen?
Oh, it's 2 o'clock.
Oh, okay, well.
It's almost 1:30.
Oh, right. And it's much later for my friends over in the UK, so there we go. Cheers to them. Poor Eileen, she's having her 4th child, so sadly she can't drink, but that wasn't a secret, was it, Eileen?
It was. Top secret.
Oh no.
Okay, we'll just crop it out. We'll crop it out.
That out. All right, so we're just gonna let those cool a little bit, and we'll come back. Well, so here we go. These smell and look amazing, don't you think? So all we do is we drizzle some icing on top. Now, this does make a lot of icing. Some people, it's really up to how people like it. If you like a lot of icing, put a lot of icing on. If you don't like a lot of icing, only put a little bit of icing. Whatever you like. So I kind of like it like that. And again, small town baker, so it doesn't have to be perfect. We just kind of throw that on like this. And of course, these are still warm. So, and a lot of people like warm cinnamon buns. So we just I take a spatula and just kind of break it up where the natural break of the bun is. I might get some, this might work out perfect. Get some tongs in there and pull it out and serve it on a plate. Oh, well, and here we are, our finished cinnamon rolls. They're so good. It's actually a Christmas Eve tradition in our house. I make them the night before, let them finish rising in the fridge, and put them in the oven first thing 15 minutes later, and they're done. And thank you to my audience! Small town baker,